Russia supported the convening of today's Security Council meeting, focusing on the situation in the West Bank. We believe that further dilution of international attention to achieving a just and lasting Middle East settlement is unacceptable. The cornerstone of this process remains the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. This standoff, which has persisted for decades, remains a key source of instability in the region and continues to contribute to the emergence of new flashpoints across the wider Middle East. We thank Ramiz Alatbarov, UN Deputy Special Coordinator for the Middle East Peace Process, and Khan Suleiman, UNICEF Deputy Executive Director, for their comprehensive reports on the situation. We share the alarming assessments of the UN representatives. Essentially, the West Bank is approaching the point of no return, with risks of profound destabilization of the military and political situation throughout the region. The reasons for this dangerous trend are well known and lie in Israel's expansion into the OPT, the escalation of settlement violence, and the tightening of Israeli restrictions on the movement of Palestinian residents. Contrary to the position of the majority of the international community, Israel continues its policy of building new settlements. Authorities recently issued another tender for the construction of more than 600 housing units in the Ramallah and El Beira governorates. The extraordinary level of settler violence is not only committed with impunity, but sometimes occurs with the alleged connivance of the Israeli military. In late July and early August, a wave of attacks swept through several cities, during which radicals set mosques on fire, damaged homes and vehicles, and injured dozens of people. Judging by open sources, settler violence is reaching new all-time highs. Since the beginning of this year, more than 11,000 attacks have been carried out, with over 20 West Bank civilians killed at the hands of Israeli civilians. At the same time, the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, have intensified their operations in settlements and refugee camps. These raids are accompanied by arbitrary arrests of Palestinians and widespread restrictions on movement. It is particularly alarming that these measures have resulted in major Palestinian cities being sealed off, with even emergency medical services being disrupted. We call on Israel to renounce arbitrary measures, including settlement activity, that undermine the prospects for a two-state solution. Israel must also take effective measures to curb settler violence and immediately return to compliance with relevant Security Council and General Assembly resolutions. The volatile situation in another part of the OPT, the Gaza Strip, is equally alarming. The practical implementation of the U.S. Gaza peace plan is effectively at a standstill. It is certainly significant that, thanks to the efforts of mediators, large-scale bloodshed in the enclave has been stopped. However, the ceasefire continues to be systematically violated, primarily by the Israeli side. This is clearly demonstrated by the casualty statistics. In less than a year since the formal entry into force of the ceasefire arrangements, Israeli forces have killed nearly 1,300 Palestinians. Among them, according to UN figures, nearly 300 were children. In other words, over the past 300 days, one child has died every day in Gaza at the hands of Israeli forces. Despite this tragic reality, a number of Western delegations have, over the past few months, placed the sole responsibility for the stalled Gaza peace plan squarely on Hamas. We all remember how, during Security Council meetings, the Palestinian leadership was persistently urged to immediately agree to lay down its arms, allow the work of the National Gaza Management Committee to proceed, and accept the roadmap proposed by the Peace Council's High Representative Nikolai Mladenov. We hope that our Western colleagues will demonstrate the same unity and determination toward the other side of the conflict. Given West Jerusalem's public rejection of the roadmap and Hamas's agreement to the deal. Madam Chairperson, we have repeatedly noted that the success of any Middle East peace initiative will be measured by the achievement of the main goal, the creation of a united, independent, and contiguous state of Palestine in the West Bank and Gaza, with East Jerusalem as its capital. This state must coexist securely with Israel. As experience in recent years has shown, the Palestinian issue, as well as the entire Middle East peace process, cannot be resolved in a rush or through ad hoc schemes. Attempts by individual countries to assume the role of sole mediator are untenable, especially when the primary mediator plays exclusively to the advantage of one side in the Arab-Israeli conflict. Under these circumstances, justice and the fulfillment of the aspirations of the Palestinian people are unlikely. However, an alternative path always remains open. Sustainable stabilization and improvement of the situation in the Middle East can and must be achieved through coordinated international and regional efforts. These efforts should draw on the extensive international legal framework and its key element, the two-state solution for two peoples.